I hereby call the Advanced Transportation District regular board meeting to order. I will do roll call. Trustee Cedillo?
Here. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for spending part of your summer with us.
Trustee Morin?
Here, and welcome to everyone.
Trustee Ponick is absent. Dr. Gambetta is running late. Our Vice Chair Allison is also on his way. Secretary Harrison?
Here. Just came from the bibliothèque a little while ago.
Trustee Thompson is out of town. Trustee Pettis is also out of town. We've got summer vacations. Trustee Bryant?
Here, and again, I would like to welcome everybody, and I know that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to be here. And thank you, City Year, for being here.
Trustee Morgan?
Here. Thank you, everybody.
All right, we've got a quorum. We will move on to, if you all will join me in a moment of reflection. Thank you. If you will please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Arndt, do we have any announcements?
Not for this meeting, no.
All right. Moving on to agenda item number 3, consent agenda. Do we have a motion for approval?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Trustee Cedillo and a second by Secretary Harrison. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed nay. Motion carries. Legal briefing. No legal briefing. All right. Moving on to agenda item number 5. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion. Seconded.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on whether we should adjourn or not? All right. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed nay. Okay, motion carries. Our VIA's ATD regular board meeting is hereby adjourned. All right, at this time, I call our regular VIA board meeting to order. Mr. Arndt?
Yes, I do have a number of announcements and recognitions. So I'd like to start with recognition associated with the Seventh-day Adventist General Conference. At the beginning of July, San Antonio hosted the largest and longest lasting convention in this city's history, the Seventh-day Adventist General Conference. Throughout the 10-day conference, VIA provided service to the attendees, transporting approximately 22,190 passengers back and forth to the Robert Thompson Transit Center for continuous events at the Alamodome. We operated 137 downtown shuttle buses and provided 129 extra buses on regular bus routes to help reduce passenger overcrowding. We also handled heavy ridership on bus services to and from the airport, from the Lackland area, UTSA, and along several other major routes. In addition to providing extra service to the conference attendees, we ensured that regular passengers were able to reach their destinations with minimal disruption to their daily commutes. Our extraordinary efforts did not go unnoticed. In fact, we received a letter that's at your place from the City of San Antonio's Convention and Sports Facility Department Executive Director Michael Swawaya, praising our efforts during the conference. I want to take a moment to share this with all of you here this evening. I'm happy to announce that both the Alamodome and Convention Center performed to peak demand capacity for a period of 11 days. Transportation demands for this group were enormous, and the meeting planners were very complimentary of VIA's services to their attendees. We recognize that reliable public transportation was a key contributor to the success of this mega convention. With partners like VIA, I am certain that our reputation for being able to handle major national events will only grow. Jeff, please accept my sincere gratitude for ensuring the reliable public transportation services that were provided to our convention attendees. And along those lines, I would like to ask Mr. Dave Krapinski, who is the Assistant Executive Director of the San Antonio Convention and Visitors Bureau, to come forward and address the board regarding the conference. Welcome, Dave. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Jeff.
You can have a seat. It's probably easier with
That
respect to
easier?
the
Okay.
microphone. Yeah, otherwise you have to bend over for the mic.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, distinguished board. It's an honor to be with you today. We hosted, as Mike said in his letter to Jeff, one of the most monumental conventions in the San Antonio Convention and Visitors Bureau history. This was one where 70,000 people came from over 191 countries. And it takes a small army to pull something like this together. And what we really want to share with you today is that we would not have been nearly as successful with ensuring that these attendees had a wonderful experience in San Antonio without the great partnership that we had with your staff, your employees, and your management. The transportation was pretty much flawless and in many cases beyond expectations. We want to continue that partnership. And so I want to introduce to you Brenda Square, who's our Director of Convention Services. Brenda was the mastermind of keeping things in line for all facets of Seventh-day Adventist. And she has some really special things she'd like to share with you. So Brenda?
Thank you, Dave. And thank you again for the opportunity for us to be here and to publicly thank you for your participation in the General Conference Seventh-day Adventist General Session this July. To fully understand how VIA and its employees positively affected the conference, I would like just to take just a moment to give you a little bit of history. This meeting was booked in 2006, so for the last 9 years, we've been in anticipation and planning of this meeting that convenes only every 5 years. In 2010, I had the opportunity to attend the conference in Atlanta, Georgia, and observe the sessions, exhibits, and the movement of the conference attendees, who's also reached 65,000. We walked away with 5 known facts. 1, the organizers of the seventh day do not contract hotels for the general attendee. Only delegates, special guests, and staff, approximately 5,500 people. For us, that meant up to 50,000 attendees, and their location of their accommodations was unknown. 2, there would be no shuttle service, not even for the delegates. 3, the general attendee does not have to register. Anyone could attend the events. 4, there would be a big demand for vegetarian cuisine. And 5, they were going to be in our city at least 10 days. Early discussions were held at the Tuesday City's Downtown Operations Meeting, which Craig Opella represents VIA. During the discussions with VIA's office in early April, at that time we knew exactly where the delegates were staying, but the unknown for the general attendees was still an unknown. We knew they were in the city, but to pinpoint specific areas was information we were unable to provide. What we did know, there were delegates representing up to 196 countries, of which did not speak our language or have an understanding of our culture. What we all learned simultaneously, there was a great demand for public transportation. VIA responded with bringing staff to the Convention Center and Alamo Dome to sell and share information on how to move about our city, specifically Walmart, H-E-B, and their hotels. VIA responded with additional buses and staff to meet the demand on the routes in and outside the downtown area. VIA responded with compassion. As I understand, one employee came to the aid of a lady from Botswana who was lost until the early morning hours. I am confident each of us involved have many more stories we will share for years to come. I know I have a few. Each night during the conference, there was a post-meeting with the organizers to discuss the happenings of the day. Were there to be adjustments for the next day? On Wednesday, July 8th, there was a change in schedule. The meeting that had been posted to end at 9 p.m. was running long. The meeting did not convene until after 9:30 p.m. I panicked. I thought, how are these people going to get to their destinations tonight? VIA has probably stopped running, and what about SAPD? Did they leave us? I walked to my car in Lot A of the Alamo Dome, very anxious, and made a right turn onto the access road of 281 to find a line of buses and wait for the attendees. Then I saw SAPD still in position directing traffic. What a proud moment for me and our city. I was almost brought to tears. In 2008, the Convention and Visitors Bureau initiated a quatrefoil symbol as a representation of our brand. which has now been adopted by the city. The four-leaf clover was identified as one of the most recognizable symbols in our city, and we adopted those four leaves as the spirit of our brand: promise, pride, passion, and people. Today, I sit here and say thank you for delivering on the promise, showing pride in your city, passion for what you do, and for you, our people. Today, we brought with us lapel pins for each of those members who participated in that program. When you wear these pins in the future, we hope this will be a remembrance of the part you played in the largest and longest conference in San Antonio's history. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I would just like to say to the staff that obviously this could not have happened without tremendous teamwork and involvement of people in operations and customer service and sales and safety and security and training and just everywhere within the organization. And as you said, everybody pulled together. I know that I heard stories from our field supervisors. Some of the delegates were giving them small gifts of thanks, which is so remarkable and was so appreciated. So I would like anybody in the room here who was involved in working on this general conference and making San Antonio shine and VIA shine, please stand up so we can give you a round of applause.
Well, Brenda, I'd like to thank you for taking the time, both of you, thank you for taking the time to come share these kind words. And I will tell you that we, as the leaders of this organization, we always feel the pride of our great staff and what they do in this community and the partnerships that we have. But it's wonderful when the rest of outside of VIA come and tell us that. So thank you so much for letting our staff know that the whole community appreciates them. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go from the 22,000 people to one very special person, a circumstance with one very special person. On the evening of Monday, June 1st at about 9:30 p.m., bus operator Gabriel Reyes was on Route 520 on Zarzamora Street when he saw an unattended small child run from the bus stop and around a corner alongside a dark building. He stopped the bus nearby, called out to the child to check on his welfare. A 5-year-old boy then walked toward the bus and told operator Reyes that he was looking for his father but could not find him. So the operator immediately contacted dispatcher, keeping the boy seated on the bus until a supervisor and the police could arrive. They took custody of the boy, and Reyes continued therefore in service. Operator Reyes present tonight? There, please stand up. So, Operator Reyes has been a steadfast employee. I like that word, steadfast, since he first joined VIA as a security guard in February of 2013. And he's been a bus operator since December of 2014. Your quick actions and alertness on that evening helped reunite the small boy with his family, demonstrating your dedication as a bus operator and strong commitment to community safety, I guess from both of those backgrounds. And so we are very fortunate to have you in our family. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You make us very proud. I'll go give you a hug after the meeting.
The VIA Transit meetup on July 21st marked 1 year of meetups with the most successful gathering to date, drawing more than 55 guests to Luke Restaurant on Houston Street along the E route to discuss public transportation. The event planning and execution were accomplished in collaboration with teams from government and community relations, marketing promotions, and executive administration. The topic of the meetup was Ask Me Anything, a popular social media-inspired theme that invited guests in person and online to a no-limits Q&A with VIA experts. So 4 conversation stations were set up with VIA representatives Paul Harvey, Art Herrera, Stephanie Suarez, and Hannah Santiago hosting dialogues on safety, on route planning, on strategic planning, and government and community relations. Feedback from our guests, including local elected officials, Chamber of Commerce members, young professionals, downtown residents, and VIA riders and staff, was overwhelmingly positive. And I think this is a way in which we are able to reach out to the millennial generation, for example, in a way that might be more appealing than calling a traditional public meeting on a topic. Special recognition goes to Sabrina Polanco, Lauren Sanchu, and Rachel Benavides for a successful and no-cost event that delivered plenty of positive return on investment for VIA. So if you would stand to be recognized. Come on. Thank you very much. I think we'll start a brief slideshow as I talk about the color of blind. Last night, VIA hosted an opening reception to kick off a unique art exhibition that will be on display in the Rotunda at the Grand through August 21st. This exhibit is called The Color of Blind. We are hosting this special event to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The Color of Blind is an interactive multisensory art show conceived by local artist and teacher Trina Bacon as an opportunity to share art with visually impaired individuals. The works are designed to provide a fuller sensory experience that differs from a traditional museum visit. By hosting the exhibit, VIA is helping promote a more inclusive art community for a more diverse audience. The Color of Blind is free and open to the public, and visitors are encouraged to touch and interact with the art. And we had about 120 people enjoying the exhibit last evening. So this is the opposite of please do not touch the art. This is like, yeah, please touch the art. It's a great experience. A tremendous amount of work went into preparation for this event. We are especially grateful for the efforts put forth by Rachel Benavides, Jerry Ann Jones, Andy Scheidt, Lauren Sanchu, and then Lorraine Polito, who was able to generate interest for 23 news stories in 24 hours. One of which, of course, required me being at the Grand this morning at 5 a.m. So, 22 out of 23 were a hit. Our fleet and facilities and security staff did a tremendous job at the Grand. They went well above and beyond in assisting in the preparation for the exhibit as well. So thank you. Please stand to be recognized again, several of you, for all you did to promote the inclusiveness in San Antonio and the anniversary of the ADA. I'd like to recognize all of our team members who graduated from the Transportation Safety Institute for Advanced Bus Collision Investigation Workshop, and that is a mouthful. VIA was the host site for this week-long workshop, which was also attended by a representative from several neighboring transit agencies. It was an informative section. We'd like to thank the following bus supervisors and lead supervisors. Please stand. Charles Brune, Joseph Dean, Thomas Frotz, Ed Garcia, Michelle Garza, Scott Johnson, Robert Perez, and Mark Spalding. Thank you for being there and for your commitment to safety and VIA. Thank you. Now I have three kind of quick introductions. First, I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of the VIA family, Eloy LaCue. Eloy, please stand up. He will be joining our team next week as Government Relations Policy Analyst. He comes to us from District 8 City Councilman Ron Nuremberg's office after some wrangling with the councilman, and has more than 12 years of prior state, legislative, and local municipal experience. Please join me. Eloy's last name, LaCue, is French. He has told me he is neither Cajun nor French Canadian. He is all American. He just has a French name. So welcome to the team. Thank you. Congratulations are also in order for VIA's Senior Vice President of Legal Services, Bonnie Prosser-Elder, who was selected and featured in the latest hardbound edition of the Black Book Directory and Yearbook. The Black Book is the largest business directory, community calendar, and executive listing with an African American focus in Bexar County, documenting the top industry achievers, character profiles, and social events. Bonnie was featured not only for her efforts in representing VIA, but also her contributions and activities that have benefited the community through social involvement through various other organizations. And she shared honors this year with Mayor Taylor, with Doyle Benaby at CPS, and Oliver Hill. So it's a very esteemed group, and they were, I think, very happy to be there with you, Bonnie. What an achievement. Congratulations. And lastly, I'm sure you're all anxious, I want to offer congratulations to our champion and board chair, Hope Andrade, who received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the San Antonio, boy, that was a flashback.
He moved me to Houston, what? Is that wishful thinking? He's wanting me to move to Houston?
It's their fault for not having recognized you yet. The San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce on July 16th. The award was presented at the 2015 Business Awards dinner at the Hyatt Regency to honor the accomplishment of some of San Antonio's most influential business and community leaders who are at the forefront of their industry. And I can't think of anyone, again, more deserving of such an award than Hope. Thank you, Hope. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Great report. Moving on to item number 4, citizens to be heard.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, we have 5 citizens to be heard tonight, and the first one is Damon Mason.
Okay. Chairman Andrade, President Art, the trustees, many salutations. Is I, Damon Mason. I'm here tonight because I'm very unhappy with the May 2015 responses, which went into territory that I in no way mentioned during my inquiries. I've written an email to Tracy about this and imported to Councilor Dr. Polito on another matter, a courtesy copy of which I have with me. Tonight I shall lead you through the correspondence I sent to Tracy as much as time allows. Okay, upon receiving the response to the May 2015 BA board meeting, I found several areas in which I wanted to speak to you about, but was disappointed that Tracy had disappeared all the computers of such speed. I was wondering if he was an expert physician in a past life. Anyways, let's get to the feature presentation. See, the three issues I wish to really address tonight. Yeah, are first, to assign 192 as the number for the Texas Loop 345 BRT service route, and by extension revising both the loop route signs, constructing a parking lot with a 1-to-1 ratio of above ground and below ground levels at both Crossroad Parking Lot and Randolph Parking Lot, and the installation of exclusive trans lanes on Texas Loop 13. And yes, there is a reason why I typed it that way. I'm talking by Texas Loop 13, I mean both Military Drive and W.W. White Road. Both of them. Now, let's see, okay. Anyway, $58.44 million. Yeah, I am extremely disappointed. Yet you spent all that money, and yet and all I got out of it is yet another curb lane trans service route with overglorified bus stops. Now I pay $409 a month to rent the apartment in which I'm living. That $58.44 million would have easily housed me for 119,265 months. Now let's see. Okay, what else? As I said before, the 550 skip looper skip from the sign and the 501 skip sign. Yeah, that is ambiguous. So I'd like for you to revise that to read 550 clockwise looper and 561 anti-clockwise looper. Now you need to learn what you really have. Instead of having this emphasis on building new facilities, why not just upgrade and maintain the ones you already have? So anyway, let's see. So anyway, this here speaks for itself. So okay, yeah.
Ferris Hodge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to sing my song, then we'll get out into the nitty-gritty. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Now, last meeting, I said that y'all don't give us enough time to talk. You need to give us 5 minutes. And somebody wrote a letter and said we don't have no plans to increase. Well, I don't know who the someone is, but anyway, you still need to give us 5 minutes. Then I told y'all about those police windows are too dark. And then y'all wrote me a letter saying that y'all in compliance with whatever. No, y'all not in compliance with nothing. Those windows are pitch black. You can stand from here to here and you can't see the policeman. So why do you have all those dogs and those riding around in those cars? What if a lady or someone get hurt in the car? What if that happened? Then what are you going to do? You know? And yes, y'all are going to change that policy. Y'all can sit up there and look at the wall or whatever. The next problem is the Trans vans do not have watch your step. And I told y'all that last week. That is a safety problem. And y'all should have been on top of that last week. I talked to Mr. Frost just about an hour ago. And y'all have to stay on top of safety. The Trans, the 100 bus stops do not have the name of the buses that stop on wherever those buses go down those streets. You know, you have 100. You got 3 different type 100 buses. No name, you know, just 100. And I was at the bus stop a few months ago, and I said, "Is the 93 running today?" And the bus driver said, "They don't run on Sundays." I said, they don't have 94 on the bus stop. He said, "You know, something wrong with Via." I said, "Yeah, I believe that." I told them that 3 times. They need to put the name of each bus route. You have 68, 3 different routes, 75, 3 different routes, and nobody. And we had these. One more thing, that 7-day event, they came here, they did good, that's fine and good. And I told the city manager's department and the mayor that those bus stops are filthy. The people that's on that cushion, that dope, they spit up all on the sidewalks, and we have to walk in that mess. And the seniors told me to tell you, Ms. Andrade, that you need to talk to the city manager and the mayor about washing those seats down, those sidewalks down, and put some Clorox to get all that smell up off of those sidewalks. And that 7-day Adventist said that Mexican food was great, fantastic. And she said, "Are you from San Antonio?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm born and raised here in Texas." She said, "You need to tell that Via board to take that $30 million or whatever y'all give the city back, because they are not washing down those sidewalks. The whole downtown area smells filthy."
Marissa De
People in
Leon.
the wheelchairs, they're almost in tears. So y'all have a good day. We'll sing my song again next month.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Get in touch with the city manager.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marissa and I'm with City Air, so I just wanted to say thank you to Via on behalf of my teammates from last year. I'm fortunate enough to have a car with me, but I know the bus passes that y'all donated to us last year definitely helped out a lot of my teammates in getting to school and going different places around town, like for groceries and errands and things like that. So I just wanted to share my gratitude with you guys on behalf of my teammates from last year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sergio Plaza.
Hi, thank you for inviting us here to be with y'all tonight. I, like Marissa, didn't. I had the privilege to. I didn't have the privilege to ride the buses last year, but a lot of my teammates did. So I want to repeat that thanks from Marissa on behalf of my teammates from last year. But individually, I think I also wanted to thank the operators. I rode the bus a whole lot when I was in college, and I always made sure to thank them anytime I got on, anytime I got off. So if you could pass along that thanks to me, thank you to all the bus drivers here in San Antonio. I don't think anybody would be able to get a lot of things done without the bus driver service. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Leotine Stevens.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here on behalf of my brother. I have a concern, but before I give the concern, I do want to let you know that I appreciate your services. My son was sick with diabetes on one of your Via buses, a regular bus, one time, and the bus driver did all he could to get him some food in him, a drink, and something that bring his sugars back up. So I appreciate that, and you do have concern for your constituents. But recently, and even before that, recently I have a brother he's a double amputee, and he's had several occasions where he did not get the bus service that he needed to come out. They would say they came out, and he would be sitting there at the door waiting, and they would say that they came, but you know, it becomes a matter of who's telling me the truth about this. So he did not get his bus for several occasions, church time, also on occasions when he needed to go to therapy. He has to call people that he has to pay to come and help him get dressed. So it's an extra expense just for him to get to that. And then to have them come and he not make it to the service, that's, you know, just really frustrating for him and for us. So this last week or two, he was supposed to go to his therapist for counseling, and he didn't make it to that, and they were dressed. And this has been happening over a period of several times. So I thought maybe I'd come in. I've never been to your board meetings, and I appreciate this time to voice concern. Like I said, I didn't come just to say concerns, but also to say one solution would be just to call in the house, because they would tell them that they came and they waited, and then they didn't get him, and so they would leave. And he lives out by Lackland area, and I heard you mention that area, and so, you know, to come that far and not pick somebody up who really needs that help, it's kind of like not very compassionate of the person who comes. So my suggestion is if they could just call in the house, and I asked talk to the people at the VIA Concerns Board, she said to come to you, but that calling in would be something they should be able to do. So I'm asking if you could just call in the house or have them come to the door. I have a niece also who's been working with you all for many, many years. She's a muscular dystrophy, and her mom is 80 years old, and she has to sit out in the cold and wait, or in the heat and wait, you know, and it really seems like something could be done to get your patients, your people in better. So that's my concern and my recommendation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Lori Sertucci.
As I was listening to that lady speak of her experience, I had a chance to try out the DART system in Dallas, Texas. And the paratransit system, first the automated system would call you and tell you exactly when the van was coming. They would say the van will be arriving in 10 minutes. And then when the van arrived, a live person would call you and tell you your van is out there, just like what VIA used to do in the past. And so my recommendation would be to sort of go back to that, so that people won't be waiting in the extreme heat and cold, and you won't have the problem of, we were there, but you weren't there problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chairwoman, there are no more citizens to be heard.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Before we move on to our consent agenda item, may I ask a city year group to stand up, please? We also thank you for taking the time to show us your gratefulness for supporting your program with VIA Passes, but we also want to say thank you for everything that you do in our community. We're so fortunate to have you, and we're proud to be a partner and keep supporting your program. If any of my fellow board members would like to say anything, because you all have such a great program, and so we're very proud to support you.
I would, Chairman. Actually, I do see them quite a bit downtown, being ambassadors for us. I know the side of the sleeve of the shirt that they wear says VIA. So I have seen them helping get passengers to the right destinations and things of that nature, working in the downtown area. I do see this. So, Ms. Greer, I'm appreciative of your staff, of your students that you have. They are very good ambassadors for us.
Will you all join me in a round of applause for them? Thank you. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. Item number 5. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Any comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 6. Board of Trustee bylaws, committee proposals, committee structure. Ms. Elder.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As you know, the VIA Board of Trustees has been reviewing, primarily through the Bylaws Committee, the VIA Board Committee's operation and structure. The committee member appointment process has been initiated, and at this juncture, we are dealing with the actual structure of the committees. So the proposed structure would modify some of the committees, and I'll go through those proposed modifications. First, being the Intergovernmental Relations and Public Affairs Committee, which will be modified to a standard 5-committee member format. And from where we are today, that means that it will no longer meet as a committee of the whole. The Pension and Compensation Committee functions would be absorbed by the Operational Oversight and Finance Committee. The Real Estate Committee functions would be absorbed by the Planning and Project Development Committee. The Ethics Committee would be modified to include quarterly meetings and a predetermined membership composition as opposed to members coming on based on the issues at hand or rolling on and rolling off. It would have a set composition every year like all of the other committees. And then lastly, we would transition the functions of the Executive Committee to a committee of the whole that will meet in a B session format prior to the regular monthly meetings of the VIA Metropolitan Transit Board of Trustees. It is proposed that this committee structure be presented as implemented on a trial basis until the end of the calendar year, and this will allow the Board of Trustees an opportunity to evaluate the operations of the committees, and then following that period, we would implement the revised structure, and after your review, we would make all the necessary modifications to any policies or procedures and bring that back to you for a vote of the full VIA board. And so the structure is outlined graphically before you. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Board members, any questions of Ms. Elder? Trustee Gambetta, do you have a question? No? Okay, good. Thank you.
So there is a resolution in your packet that would require.
Okay. Vice Chairman Allison, do you have a motion?
I move the board accept the resolution approving the bylaws revisions on a trial period through the end of the calendar year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 7, San Antonio B-Cycle Bike Share Program. Mr. Buchanan.
Good evening, everybody. Joining me this evening is Jason Rodriguez, Interim Planning Manager here at VIA. This evening, we're going to give a presentation kind of on the status of B-Cycle, what is B-Cycle here in the community, and then how VIA and B-Cycle can work together and how we move forward with B-Cycle here in the community. So with that, Jason's going to give a quick presentation, then we'll answer any general questions about B-Cycle.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to give a presentation that sort of explains what B-Cycle is, how it works, and that should give a base of information about the program. So basically, B-Cycle is our local bike share program here in San Antonio. Since 2011, there's about 55 bike stations, primarily downtown or along the Mission Reach of the San Antonio River, and also in a few other locations near downtown. It offers last mile travel option for VIA riders, VIA is currently designated as a MAP sponsor. That's how we participate currently, so our logo's on the map, as well as the fact that most bike stations that are found downtown are going to be in proximity to a bus stop. So there's already a very good connectivity downtown between the two systems. So just generally, where are the B-Cycle users from? 40%, as you'll see on this graphic, are from San Antonio, and the rest are visitors, so either from another city in Texas or outside of Texas, as you'll see here. And so just to give an overview, a very high-level overview of how these bike share programs work around the country. There's essentially 4 different models that are followed. There's basically a city-owned, nonprofit operated, city-owned, contractor operated, and then one where a nonprofit does everything, owns it, operates it, another where there's a contractor, a private contractor that's owning and operating the system. And there are several cities where each of these can be found here in the United States. There's currently not a model in the U.S. where a transit authority is the owner and operator of a bike share program. There have been some recent models that have cropped up where it's similar to what you see above, where it's a city ownership and then a nonprofit or contractor operated operation where you see a transit agency involved. LA County MTA is the most recent, Fort Worth, and I believe Dayton. There are a couple of other smaller groups that participate like that as well. There's just really a couple of examples in Europe and China where you have a transit service provider. It's typically a railway, actually, that does own and operate a bike share from their stations in the various cities that they serve. And then there are a couple of transit agencies, though, in the list that I have given examples above, where they have representation on the boards of their respective bike shares. So this is just to give sort of a snapshot of how this typically works in the U.S. And how transit agencies have been involved in the U.S. to date. So the fiscal 16 plan, as of now, is, as we're showing it here, it's about $787,000 in operating expenses. The revenue projected to be generated or needed is that same amount. Of course, memberships make up about half of that, sponsorships about a quarter, and then the rest is made up by funding support or sponsorships of other types, additional sponsorships, and that's $214,000. It's essentially the gap. And then there is out there a TxDOT Transportation Enhancement Grant that would go toward funding 20 new stations and 200 new bikes within the system. Although I will point out that the operating and revenue that you see above is before that grant. So that's not including what it would cost to operate those 20 new stations. But that is something that is out there pending. So the governance structure of B-Cycle is as follows. The City of San Antonio owns the bike share equipment. So that's the stations, the bikes, and some of the other equipment that's required to do the day-to-day. That's been purchased through various grants. They then contract with San Antonio Bike Share, which is a 501c3 that's been set up as a nonprofit to operate B-Cycle. So that's where the city owns it and a nonprofit operates the bike share. There's a contract between the city and San Antonio Bike Share, and that has recently been amended to increase their board of directors from 6 to 9 members. And then the new B-Cycle executive director will report directly to the San Antonio Bike Share board and the City of San Antonio's chief sustainability officer. And that person is currently, the city is currently trying to hire that individual. In 2014, the Office of Sustainability at the City of San Antonio did prepare a bike share strategic plan. There are several key recommendations, I suppose, that came out of that, but here we've outlined some of the more important ones, or not the more important ones, but some of the ones that sort of stand out. And that's to bring all management and operating functions in-house, to bring on a senior business development staff person that can bring the sort of marketing and fundraising aspect to that program. In addition to expanding the board of directors, they would create an advisory board to help with the fundraising piece. And then they would begin to prepare annual budgets and lastly undertake a formal planning process for how they would expand the system beyond the current funding levels. So these are some of the main points that came out of that plan, among others. Essentially, as we move forward in considering our partnership with B-Cycle, there are a few things here where we really want to point out that VIA and B-Cycle do complement each other. B-Cycle is certainly an element of a multimodal transportation system, as is VIA's services. Of course, we want to build a vibrant, energetic community. We want to support healthy and fit communities by supporting active transportation. Most of our riders, as we all know, are pedestrians, so they are actively practicing active transportation. We want to support sustainable transportation and then provide greater community access. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have at this point in the presentation.
Members, any questions?
I have one real quick. I just
All
had
right.
a thought.
We're going to also go into closed session. So if your question is about the presentation, you may ask it now, or if the question is about the contract, then we'll go into closed session.
Not about the contract, about the operational kind of things about B-Cycle.
Then you can ask that.
My question, if you go around the country, is there any reciprocal kind of activity between maybe one or two cities or something like that? Like, for example, if I'm in Miami, but I have a San Antonio B-Cycle pass, could I use that in Miami, Florida? Or could I use it in New York?
My understanding of the way that it works is each individual city is set up as a separate membership.
You can see things like museum things and museum passes, like my pass for the Children's Museum works in Denver, Colorado, and such things of that nature. So it just each individual city works together.
That's
Separately.
my understanding. I mean, that's how the data is collected as well. So there are people who will be users in other cities that then come here and they subscribe to this system.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you.
Members, any other questions regarding the operation? Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask for agenda item number 8 to be presented, and then we will go into closed session on both items. Thank you very much.
The reason why I'm saying that, you get my familiarity about making it easy for everybody.
All right, are you ready for our agenda item number 8, advertising and marketing services? Ms. Russell.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Members, Mr. Arndt, Madam Chair, good evening. The item before you this evening is to request approval to award the IDIQ contracts to Creative Civilization and Pavlov Advertising for advertising and marketing services for the not-to-exceed amount of $6 million and $2 million, respectively. The term for each contract will be 3 years. Final scoring of this RFP resulted in 2 firms being within a highly competitive range, and this type of range is what we've awarded multiple contract providers across other functional areas of our organization, such as architecture, legal work, and civil engineering. Section 1.57 of the RFP reserves VIA's right to contract with multiple firms for the provision of these services. Each recommended firm brings with them complementary strengths, and we believe that together, along with the ongoing efforts we are making internally to strengthen the areas of the organization, we can achieve synergy across our common goals. Creative Civilization has been in business since 1999 with co-founders Al Aguilar as CEO and Gisela Gerard as president. They have provided services to clients such as University Health System, San Antonio Economic Development Foundation, the City of San Antonio Pre-K for SA, and San Antonio Sports. Pavlov Advertising has been in business since 2001. It formerly operated as Concussion LLC. It has had the same CEO, Alan Wallach. During this time, Chris Kessling, Pavlov's creative director, has been with the agency 14 years, also during the time of the agency formerly known operating as Concussion. He came to Concussion when the firm was 5 months old. He was asked to join at the firm's inception. However, he required this period of time to wind down his prior responsibility. He has served in the capacity of creative director for 8 years approximately now, and prior to that, he was the associate creative director for 6 years. Pavlov provides services to clients such as Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, Choctaw Casinos, TCU Athletics, Texas Motor Speedway, Trinity Rail Express, and historically, 4 of the 8 metropolitan transit authorities in Texas. They still currently serve the Fort Worth Transportation Authority after a contract renewal, and they also, as mentioned above, have a separate contract with Trinity Rail Express, which is a joint partnership between Dallas Area Rapid Transit and the T in Fort Worth. This is part of a separate account and contract. As a follow-up to last month's board meeting, VIA staff met with both firms to address concerns and discuss moving forward utilizing a team structure under the direction and coordination of VIA staff as recommended. And this evening, the modified approach provides for allowing work, irrespective of category or type, to be provided by both firms, thereby eliminating any matrix as proposed the services are assigned or to any specific firm by type of work. Examples of possible type of work under this contract would include marketing strategy and planning, brand development, design work, creative and art direction, strategic communications initiatives, TV and radio production, media planning and placement, digital support, social media, public relations, media relations, website content, promotions and special events, and photography and video services. Staff has reaffirmed with both Creative Civilization and Pavlov that each is willing to work as part of a strategic effort moving forward. Looking to the future, each organization will receive substantive assignments to be based upon budgeted resources. So this evening the recommendation before you is to award contracts for advertising and marketing services to Creative Civilization and Pavlov as part of a larger team structure comprised of both VIA staff and contract advertising and marketing resources. I would also note that Pavlov Advertising requested that they be permitted to utilize a San Antonio-based and certified SBE in lieu of other DBEs from outside of the VIA service area, and this request has been granted. The item before you requests the authority to award contracts for the not-to-exceed amount of $6 million for Creative Civilization and $2 million for Pavlov Advertising. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions on what has been presented? If not, we will go into executive session. All right. At this time, it is now 6:01 p.m. and the VIA Metropolitan Transit Board of Trustees will officially go into a closed executive session. The items we will discuss during this executive session are as follows. Item number 7, entitled San Antonio B-Cycle Bike Share Program, which is an executive session item pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, entitled Consultation with Attorney. And item number 8, entitled Advertising and Marketing Services, which is an executive session item pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, entitled Consultation with Attorney. And also item number 9? Just those 2 items, right?
Just those 2
Yeah.
items, correct.
Which is, all persons who are authorized to attend the executive session, please proceed to the small conference room. Thank you. It is now 6:25 p.m. and we're officially coming out of the closed executive session regarding agenda items 7 and 8. No deliberations of public policy or vote taking occurred during the executive session. All right, we will go back to agenda item number 7 on the San Antonio B-Cycle Bike Share Program.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move that staff propose to the city that VIA's role in the B-Cycle be expanded in both participation and governance of the system.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any questions on this agenda item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 8, advertising and marketing services.
I'd like to move the staff recommendation.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Item number 9, legal briefing. Ms. Elder, do we have legal briefing? Members, congratulations. We've had a great meeting today. We've accomplished a lot and continue with a lot of excitement at this agency. Thank you all very much. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Would anybody like to discuss this adjournment?
No. Drive safe.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much.
I appreciate it.